Hello guys, welcome to the video. In this one, I want to show you example of how you can get reference of the objects, how you can control some of the components of the objects, and how to make it all work together if you want, for example, make tower face the enemy. Alright, let's take it step by step. Let's make a C# script. And if you're using newer version of Unity, it should be something like create mana behavior. Yeah, let's name it as tower. And we're going to take this tower game object and put the script on the top, just like that. Now this object has a script, and our goal to use this script to make transform face the enemy. We need to change rotation of the transform over here, right? This is actually pretty easy to do if you need some super simple functionality. If you want it to work just better than simple, then you have to write some more code. We're going to do both of that in this video. Yep. So first of all, I want to show you how to get reference to the object. You already know that you can create a variable, and let's make a public variable of a transform, and let's name it as enemy. So now we have a variable that is named enemy, and type of this variable is a transform. Let me make this window a bit smaller. Just like that, so it's a bit easier to explain. Yeah, so we can see we've got here enemy field that says none, and whatever we drag into this field can be called by using this variable over here, and just like we did with the cube when we changed position of the cube. But for the tower, we're going to have the enemy. So we cannot drag this transform from here. That would be wrong. It says towers transform. We need to take the enemy and drag it over here. Now this tower has access to the information of the transform position, rotation, and scale of the enemy, which is very useful for us. We can go to tower script again. And if you remember, I told you that update is used when you need to do some things all the time, always. For example, we want to face the enemy. Of course, we cannot face the enemy with an entire tower. We only want to use tower's head to look at the enemy. So we're going to make another variable over here. We're going to make public transform tower head. Usually, when name of the variable contains more than one word, you're using a camel case, which means small letter, and then each new word starts with a capital letter, just like you see here. So let's make another variable tower head. Let's go back and let's drag tower head to this field over here. Now this script tower has access to the tower head transform over here, basically to this transform over here. And also this tower script has access to the enemy's transform, and we can use them both to do what we want. As example, I want to do this tower head dot, and then we can do something very simple. We can type look at and then enemy, just like that. So look at is a built-in functionality of Unity, which will help us to make tower look at the enemy. There are some conditions to it, but I'm going to talk about them later on. As of now, we just need to understand something simple. We used one variable to make it look at another variable. Now this script will make this tower head look at the enemy's transform. Let's go back. Let's go to play mode. And we can see tower looks at the enemy. And if I take this enemy and move it around, tower gonna keep looking at the enemy, which is really, really cool. And it was very, very easy to make. Very good. Now that we did something very cool and very simple, let's do something else here. We're going to go to the tower script, and I want to make a Boolean variable because I want to show you how to make a simple if statement. Let's do public bool tower can aim. So this will define if tower can aim at the moment or if it cannot. Yeah. And then we're going to go to the update and type if tower can aim equals true, then open curly brackets. And then let's move this line of code inside of curly brackets like that. So now tower can aim at the target only if we have this boolean set to true. Let's go and try that again. So now if we go to play mode again, we can see the tower looks forward, and if we check this box and make it true, then tower is going to aim at the enemy, which is very, very cool. So now you know how to make a simple if statement, and now you know how conditions are working. This can help you not just to make tower look at the enemy when we check the box in the inspector over here, but also it can help us make some more complicated and nice things. For example, maybe tower's attack range. What if tower can look at the enemy only if it's within the tower's attack range? In this case, that would be very cool and also very logical, right? So we can do that with the help of if statement again, but this time condition gonna be a little bit different. Let me delete this boolean tower can aim. Remove this if statement for now. And let's go and make public float attack range. And by the way, this is a very useful to know. You can give a variable a default value. If we type equals 3 over here, for example, then when you save it and go back to Unity, this value will have a number 3 over here, and in this case you don't have to go to inspector and set values for the first time. You can just have it there like that. Alright. Then if you go to the inspector, you'll have a number 3 over here. This can help you to save a little bit of a time when you're creating a new variable and you just want to test something. Alright, very cool. So we have an attack range now, and we know it's a number 3, but we don't know how much it is in the game because we cannot see anything. What is a 3? Is it till here? Is it till here? Wait, let me do the top view. So what is a 3? Is it this much, or maybe it's this much? How do we know? We can actually check that in a very simple way by drawing gizmos. So let's do that. Let's go to the tower script, and we can just make a method that is very similar to the void start or void update, and it's going to be typed as void on draw gizmos. This is a built-in method from Unity that allows you visually show some things in the scene. Just type after me, even if it's a bit confusing, don't worry about it, just type after me, okay? We're gonna type gizmos, draw wire sphere. And to draw wire sphere, we need to know the center, and you can see it shows me that it needs vector 3 center and then float radius. Vector 3 is basically a set of values to show the position, right? And in this case, we can use transform dot position, and then it will be drawn from the middle of the tower. And as for float radius, we can just use attack range that we created before. Now let's save this. And let's go back to Unity. Now we can see a wire sphere around the tower, and now we know what is attack range of this tower. It's not exactly at the ground over here, it's in the middle of the tower, but that's what we asked it to do, right? We did transform position, which is exactly center. And I think it's fine, we can keep it like that. Later on in the game, I'm gonna show you how to control gizmos better so you can draw them from any point of the game object. As of now, it's not that important. So now we have a visual representation of the attack range, and it's visible only for us in the scene view. In the game window, it's not visible at all. The only thing it does is showing you the visuals, nothing else. It does not check for attack range, it does not represent anything except the visuals. We just named it as attack range. If you change the value, it's going to be smaller or bigger. Yeah. Alright, let's make it as 3 again, and then let's go to the script. And inside of the update method, let's type something simple. Let's type if vector 3 dot distance, and this one allows you to check distance between two objects, and we're gonna do distance between, you can see point A and point B, but it requires not a transform, it requires a vector which has 3 values, x, y, and z, and we can get them from a transform we have. So let's do this. If distance between enemy position and tower head position is less than attack range, then we can make tower head look at the enemy, only if it's within distance. Very cool, right? Let's save this and let's go back to Unity. We're gonna go to play mode. And we can see that tower looks forward, it does not move, but if I take my enemy and move it closer to the tower, once it goes into the attack range, the tower gonna look at the enemy. Very cool. You can walk out of it, and then tower gonna freeze. You can go from another side, and then, I'm sorry, this is so funny, and then walk again, and tower gonna look at you again. So yeah, a very cool and simple feature that allows you to set up attack range of the tower. And we did that with a couple of lines of code in a very simple way, very understandable way. So what did we learn in this video? We did learn that you can create a variable of a transform type, which is a component of Unity, and you can get different objects and set it into the field of this variable to assign it. And then you can use these variables to get different information from there or to make it do what you want. For example, we used variable of a tower head to make it look at the enemy, and we used enemy's position and tower's head position to check the distance between them, so we can set up attack range for the tower. We also learned how to draw gizmos, so you can debug something visually inside of Unity, and also we learned how to make simple if statements. Very cool. Lots of useful information, I think. Alright, I think that's enough for this video, and I'll see you in the next one.